So then we are back with a more understanding from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Yisraelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end as per Yishiyahu the prophet of Israel, rejected by his very own people. He was destroyed, he was sawn in half, because during his time his people did not understand what he was explaining. And these days, precisely then during the time of the restoration period, after 2009 and prior of the autumn feast, we find ourselves then understanding what it means that Daniel the 11th chapter. Daniel the 11th chapter, it is precisely an absolutely precise understanding of the time of the restoration period, where then the iron and clay of the statue of Daniel, the second chapter, is then further refined. We understand the statue of Daniel of the second chapter explains of iron does not mix with the clay. So then during the time of the Roman Empire and its destruction, then became iron and clay mixed. Then you find 1,000 years of deceit from 1009 to 2009, and then you find the 11th chapter refining the statue further. It is yet iron and clay, but because of the time of the restoration period, where you have the coming of the cities of the Messiah and the Gentiles included, where you find then the dragon or China linking up the nations for the trade of the end. The dragon is not a bad term. It is a term of precision. So then this time we find in ourselves reading the news regarding Syria. It is absolutely ridiculous and is scandalous. These leaders coming together and trying to find a solution for the problem and then arming rebels, and they don't even know who these people are. These people making decisions are scoundrels. The Secretary of State of US is a scoundrel. He doesn't know what he's doing. What does he understand, firstly, of the rebels? Does he understand who these people are? Do they have an agenda? Do they have a leader? No, he is going simply with some of those yishimaelites, also scoundrels. They don't understand their position. They don't understand they are in the 62nd chapter of Yishiyahu. And the Creator himself has mentioned of their presences, and they are going along with these scoundrels trying to arm the rebels. So where do you find the Yishimaelites? And then they should make a reference of the Quran. They are very familiar with it. Where do they find on their scripture then linking up with the West? It's not on the Quran. It's not either on the Yishimaelites or the Israelites scripture. Neither of them. Can they find a reference of the West making deals with the sons of Ishmael? From their brother, from their younger brother, the tabernacling brother, they find then obviously the restoration of the power of the Ishmaelites via tabernacling, via China. These Ishmaelites mixing up with US, they are retarded, they are ridiculous. They are more ridiculous than a camel. Camels have more sense than these Ishmaelites over there making deals with these scoundrels. Where do they find on the Quran the Ishmaelites making deals with the West? Where do they find then the Israelites then making deals with the West? Where do you find it? Daniel precisely mentioned the kingdom of the north. Military makes decisions as far as safety. China is related with trade, going around, linking up the world and its nations in trouble with the system. The south then is raw materials and filtering of the holy city. Where do they find this situation, helping then the Syrian rebels with arms where you don't find any Quran, you don't find any yishimaelitic lineage scripture, and you don't find any place else? Is it going to work? No. Iran is already sending 4,000 soldiers. Are we out of our minds then? Arming rebels? We don't even know who these people are. Are they going to have an agenda afterwards? They don't know. Northern Kingdom was given then the task of security. Read the instructions. You find Daniel precisely mentioning then the later status of the Soviet Union or the Northern Kingdom. Higher than the first, and then later coming with much equipment. Equipment means military equipment. So where do they find this relationship with Syria, rebels, and then the West? It's not there. It's non-existent. So what should be done? Obviously, Mr. Putin and Mr. Xi should come up with a plan, such as exchanging petroleum from Syria with building materials in exchange for the disarmament of the rebels. And then come up with a plan. Thank God that Mr. Cameron is not involved with these scoundrels. The yishimaelites are ridiculous. They don't even understand the Quran. They don't understand the yishimaelitic lineage instructions. They don't understand. They are in the 62nd chapter of Yeshayahu. But these people are devoid of understanding. Walking around with these rags on their heads over there and their bands and then trying to be big shots. They are ridiculous. What else do they want? A nuclear war with Iran? Iran is a dangerous country. And because of a half a dozen of these ridiculous rebels, we don't even know who they are. Who they represent. How are they going to manage the country? Our Secretary of State is a clown. A clown leading stupid yishimaelites. How is then the Yishmaelites going to receive the authority via Ezekiel the 37th chapter? Does he not say then the stick of Ishmael and the stick of Yitzhak? How are they going to receive the authority? Via petroleum. But it's later. It's much later. China has much work yet ahead. After 2009, this country, United States, makes no more decisions. The decisions are made by China, Soviet Union, and Africa. And the Soviet Union already said they want Syria to remain as it is. So they should remain as it is. Disgrace, absolute disgrace. These Ishmaelites are a disgrace. Rather than helping their brothers, they are destroying them because of their lack of wisdom. Where do they find on the Quran? Show on the Quran. Also show then in the Yishimaelic original manuscripts, where is then the relationship with the northern kingdom, eastern kingdom, and then southern kingdom with the west? Where do you find it? Doesn't exist. Scoundrels. They are absolutely scoundrels. They don't have anything else to do. They are provoking war rather than retrieving. We should be retrieving and rebuilding. The main question is, where do they find on the Quran and also on original manuscripts? Where is the relationship with the West? Where is it? Where is the relationship with the kingdom of the North, East, and South, and the West? The scenario is ridiculous. Only the mentioning of it makes no sense. The Yishimaelites are out of their positions. They don't belong there where they are at. So as the United States does not belong there. Those belonging is the northern kingdom, east and south. Those are the people belonging. These rebels, they have no instruction, they don't understand who they are, they have no agenda, they have no pro-training, they don't know who is leading them, they don't have any plans for their country. Otherwise they would not going around and eating people. When you have an objective of a country for resolution and then rebuilding, soldiers, they don't go around eating others. The mere fact of coming around and then disembodying a person and eating its entrails, it is absolutely ridiculous. It shows they have no plan for the future. They want anarchy. That's why then the West is promoting anarchy. Where do you find the West in Daniel the 11th chapter? Where do you find in the Quran? This situation is not going to work. It's coming a point where the northern kingdom must give so many weapons and then crush down these rebels.